Clip groups. So it says in the book, in PT101, we learned that clips are used to manage media on your timeline. So any clip that you have, this one happens to be an audio clip, that clip points to actual media on your hard drive. It's an audio file. You may have video clips. You may have MIDI clips, which is a collection of MIDI notes. So clips are kind of a container for the media. We can also have containers for multiple clips, and we call that a clip group. So if I want to create a clip group, I would select clips that I want to group together, and I do one of the following. I can go to the clip menu and say group. I can right click anywhere over the clip group and I can say group. Or if you remember, the shortcut is here in the menu. Option Command G on Mac, so that would be Alt Control G on Windows. So let's go ahead and group these clips together. So now this is a group of clips, and it's a thing. So now, because it's one thing, I can kind of treat it like a clip. I can trim, copy, paste, all those editing things. I'm going to bring up the book and show you how we identify these clip groups. We can see that this one is identified with this waveform icon, and that one says if it's just a waveform icon, then this clip group only contains audio clips. If I have a clip group that only contains MIDI clips, then it kind of looks like a MIDI plug, except MIDI plugs have 5 dots in them, but that's close enough. Oh yeah, it is seen. A keen eye will note that the MIDI cable has 5 pins, not the 3 pins that are shown. That was due to limited space on the icon. Okay, whatever. If you have one that only contains video clips, you have the film strip kind of icon. And video clips are not supported in Artist. One video clip is supported in Pro Tools Studio, and multiple video clips are supported in Ultimate. So just as you have access to video in either one track or multiple tracks. So that kind of follows those same ideas. And then the last, or not the last one, but another one is if you have clips that are of different types, and it could be any combination of these types, then you have this kind of solid bar icon. So it also says here it's possible to create a clip group from an empty selection. In other words, a clip group with no clips in it. So this can come in handy for a number of workflows, often used to manage gaps between clips or as a placeholder. So you can even, meaning we could have a selection here, and we could right click on it and say group. So now that's a group of basically time, It's no clips, but it's a group of time. The last icon that you should be aware of is this kind of looks like a paper that's been ripped in half. This is when a clip group becomes separated. So it can become separated. Let's say I hide a track. So this should show that it's separated. I'm not sure why it's not yet. There it is. Okay. So now it has that separated icon. I want to bring that back in here. So now we have a clip again, a solid clip. So you might see that separated clip group, and pay attention to that, because if you start editing this clip, then it may or may not behave the way you think it should. So I always make sure that my clips are whole again before I start editing them. You can also notice that these clips will show up in the clips list. So we'll see the clip group listed, and because it's a multi-track clip, you'll see a disclosure triangle that will show you what clips are nested in it. So let's look at that. So we have, you can rename this too. This is saxes. So we have this sax clip group. This one is, I'm just going to call it air or whatever, time. So that shows you, what's it contained within that. Here's my other clip group, and that has that kind of waveform icon, so that shows you that that's an audio clip group there. So those are how we identify the clip groups. Uses for clip groups. You can edit sections of a song. You can manage multiple tracks that must remain aligned, such as drums. To be honest, I just use groups for that, but you can also just group all your clips and then make sure you edit those it'll keep everything aligned because they're all grouped together. You can move or edit large number of very small clips. So let's say we had a track that we separated. Edit, separate clip at transients. So we have all these clips that now are kind of hard to deal with. We could make that a clip group. And now we can kind of do all of those. We don't have to deal with selecting all of these sections again. We can edit this as a group. Undo that. Okay, we can, what was the last idea they had? You can edit multiple clips as if they were a single clip. So you can do things that you wouldn't do otherwise, like creating fades. Oh, that's fun. So if I have a clip group, I can create a fade that then, this is only, let's say that this was multiple clips, and now we have, there was a clip there, clip there, clip there, clip there. Now we've grouped all those clips together. We can have a fade that might go over multiple clips, and that's not possible unless you do a clip group. So those are some pretty cool things to do. We can ungroup our clips. Let's say that we had, I don't really need this one, but I'm going to take this clip. Let's say that this was, verse 1, and I want to say, yeah, this is verse 2, and then somewhere else we have verse 3. So maybe we have multiple copies of this clip on the timeline. I can choose to ungroup a clip, and maybe I need to edit one of these. Maybe the third verse doesn't include this little Barry solo. So again, I can right click on it and say ungroup, or I can go to the clip menu and say ungroup. If I happen to have clips that have been nested together, let's say we create another clip group of a couple of other clip groups, then we might have nested clip groups. So in that case, I could ungroup all of them or just one at a time, one level of the nesting at a time. But right now I'm just going to ungroup this one. I'm going to take this out, and now we can either create a new clip group, or there is this option called regroup. So that one's only in the clip menu. It doesn't seem to show up, I don't think, at least not on a Mac. It doesn't show up as one of the options here, which is unfortunate. So you have to use the menu for that. So I'm going to say regroup, and this will come up with an option here. So it knows that this clip shows up on multiple places on the timeline. So it says some of the clips being regrouped are used elsewhere in this session. Yeah, we have 2 more copies of this clip group. Would you like to modify those clips or create new copies? So if that is the case, so if I want this to be its own thing, I believe I say copy. So yeah, that just creates a new clip group copy. If I wanted to regroup this and modify, it should change all the other clips. So let's see if this takes out the Barry solo. Yeah, it does. It takes out the Barry solo of all the other clips because we modified one. So that's the regroup. So you can ungroup and regroup, but just know that it's only under that clip menu there, group and regroup. We can export our clip groups. So if we wanted to use these in other sessions, we can go to the clips list and select our clips group. Let's say we had that one, and I want to export clip groups. So we would choose that from the clips pop-up menu, or I guess, let's try right-clicking on it. Export clip groups. So it asks for the destination there, and we would say, let's see, resolve duplicate file names by prompting for each duplicate. Yeah, that sounds great. Or I can choose the location of my destination directory. Maybe I wanted in a general folder of clip groups, or maybe if I'm working on a huge project, maybe that project folder. And we could say export, and that will export our clip groups. So this one's going to go into let's look at it. It should be going into, yeah, it'll go into a folder in the session file there by default, so export. So if we look at our folder there, clip groups, I should have, yeah, this this clip group CGRP. So we have 2 clip groups now that we can now import into to other sessions. So that's a bit about clip groups.